Check it out, my friend. Today, we are talking about debt. I love debt. In fact, there's 5 major advantages that you pick up when you become an expert at going into debt. And today, I'm gonna teach you all of them. And you know what? It's gonna be a party, because when you understand it, it's gonna lead to making more money, having a lot more fun, and having some toys like this.
One shot, now the future is yours. Go! I'm turning dreams into reality. Yeah, it's one shot, now the future is yours. Go!
Check it out. Today we're talking about debt. There are 5 major advantages for going into debt. And you know what? Every time I make a video about debt, it seems to really upset a group of people out there. I think they're the ones that have been following Dave Ramsey.
Stupid!
Dave's a really good dude, but everyone's always talking about this one kind of debt that is in fact bad. It's called consumer debt. When on the other hand, there's another kind of debt that you really want to have endless amounts of. So understand first and foremost that there is a bad debt and there's a good debt. Those are big, strong, superlative words. Here's a good example of bad debt. I'm buying cars, I'm using credit cards, boats, things that I really can't afford. And so instead of saving up my money to buy them, I'm just gonna advance them to myself by buying them on credit. I'm gonna use my credit score, I'm gonna buy this thing, and I'm gonna basically add more payments to my life. And on the other hand, there's another kind of debt that you want to have as much as you possibly can. This is the kind of debt that actually makes you money. It could be going to college and getting a very specific kind of degree, like becoming a lawyer. You've got to go into debt for that, and that could be a huge, powerful financial choice. But I'm also talking about business. I'm talking about owning real estate. I'm talking about buying assets that go up in value. So here's the clear delineation. Bad debt is when you borrow money to purchase a depreciating asset. Good debt is exemplified in the old adage, it takes money to make money. If the debt you take on helps you generate income and build your net worth, then that debt can be considered positive. And I'm going to tell you right now that the secret to building my wealth, becoming financially free, and literally having everything that I have today, it's all built on all of these really good debts. So I'm going to give you these 5 advantages, starting with things that are really basic. And by the time we get to number 5, it becomes extraordinarily exciting. Here's advantage number 1, your credit. When you go into debt for something that's going to make you money, it actually helps build your credit. It improves your credit. And guess what you can do with your credit? You can go into more debt to build more assets to make more money. Because remember, if you can buy an asset and it comes with a debt, but it makes you money, and you're better off for it, then shouldn't you next be thinking, how do I get 5 more of those? How do I do that 10 more times? How do I do that 100 more times? Well, credit is one of those things that's going to be improved and boosted every time you do it. As a result, today, I have near perfect credit. And anytime I want to buy something really big, I use my credit, I leverage it, and it goes up in value like my assets. Think about the positive cycle. I use my credit, I buy an asset, it makes me more money, it builds my credit, I buy a bigger asset, I use it, and the cycle is literally like the foundation of building wealth. 2 of the 5 factors that improve your credit score are making payments on time and having a good credit mix. Having and paying a mortgage debt, for example, helps you do both of these things. I'm going to tell you right now, the most important asset most people will buy in their entire life, it's not what they put in their 401k, it's not their IRA, it's the fact that they bought a house once upon a time, and over time that house has appreciated in value, and a day of reckoning comes when you're looking at your net worth and you realize, holy cow, more than half my net worth might actually be sitting in that house that I never thought was an asset, and it's in that moment that you have this realization. That house made me 200 grand. I used my credit and went into debt, but it made me $200,000. I wish I could go back and buy 4 more. Then I'd be a millionaire. Number 2, tax deductions. Did you know as a second advantage to leveraging debt is that there's some tax helps that come your way? Check it out. A strong advantage of debt financing is the tax deductions. Classified as a business expense, the principal and interest payment on that debt may be deducted from your business income taxes. In other words, if you're using debt to make money, it means that it's for business. And if it's for business, you can write it off.
Why isn't it called a tax write-off?
It is! It is! You can't just buy things for yourself and write them off.
One of the ways that I've leveraged debt in the past is by building a portfolio of homes. Literally buying real estate that I rented out and I had the positive cash flow and the house went up in the meantime. But guess what they also did? It also produced a lot of tax benefits. So much so that the first 7 years as an adult earning money, the tax benefits were so great off of my growing income and portfolio that it wiped out my need to pay the government any taxes at all. Benefit number 3, arbitrage. This is one of my favorite words. If you're new to my channel, subscribe right now because I'm going to be teaching you how to awaken that inner financial genius. Arbitrage is when you borrow something for less and you lend it out for more, and you're the one making the money in the difference. Due to the low interest rates, it can be beneficial to take out quote unquote cheap money like a 3% loan on a home and then make double-digit ROIs like a 25% return on an investment. And then what do you do with that return? You pay back the loan and you got money to spare. Think about it a little bit like this. If you have a home right now and it's gone up in value, you can go back to the bank and say, hey, I want a home equity line of credit. And they're like, well, here's a $50,000 line of credit. And if you choose to use that money, kind of like swiping a credit card, we're going to charge you 3%. But you're like, Kris Krohn showing me over here how to like make 25% of my money. What's the difference between borrowing at 3 and earning 25? That's a net difference of 22% because it's what you're getting, the 25 minus the cost of borrowing 3, making 22% for going into debt at 3%. Man, would you do that all day long? I would do that all day long, Sunday backwards to midnights, up and downs, through the uphill snow both ways.
You can do it all night long.
Benefit number 4. Let's talk about one of my favorite words, leverage. Can you see that I'm getting more excited about each one of these? It's because I've been playing this game for a really long time. And if I could literally go tomorrow into $100 million more in debt for the things that I do, I would do it. I wouldn't even hesitate. And I hope that you're starting to think, wait a second, leverage? You mean someone else like the bank could give me money, AKA debt, but that becomes a benefit to me? Let me walk you through this. Investors use leverage to multiply their buying power in the market. If the underlying asset goes down in value, you get poor faster. If the underlying asset goes up in value, you get rich faster. Let me give you a very common example here. In the game of real estate, the banks have a rule. They basically say, hey, if you put a 20% down payment on an investment property, we'll give you the other 80%. So I've got 20% right here that I'm going to put down on a property, and the bank says, fine, here's the other 80%. 1, 2, 3, 4. Do you see this ratio? This means that the bank is willing to take on a 5-to-1 risk. They just need you to put up 20% of the money. Now, how is this a benefit to you? Do the math. You buy a property. It's, where's my house? My house is around here. What they do with my house?
You'd think he'd take better care of his house.
Let's say we got a house right here that I'm buying for $250,000. And guess what? Here is the $250,000. Let's just say that this is my $50,000. Maybe it came out of my 401k, my IRA, maybe from equity in my primary residence. This $200,000, guess where it came from? It came from the bank. So the bank is putting up 80% of the money. I'm putting up 20% of the money. And all of a sudden, check it out. The house goes up 10% in value. Well, what's 10% of $250,000? It's 25 grand. So the house has gone up $25,000. Now I want you to think about this for a moment. What is my return on investment? The house, never mind the cash flow, the tax deductions, it's gone up $25,000 in 1 year. So how does that impact me? Remember, I didn't put up $250,000. The bank allowed me through leverage to only put up 20% of the money, which for me was 50 grand. I put up 50 grand. The house went up $25,000, half of that amount of money. That is a 50% return on investment in year 1 because of the game of leverage. Meanwhile, your 401k on its 30-year average was doing 5%. Your stocks, your IRAs were doing 6%. You just did 50% in the game of real estate. Now add the cash flow on top of that. Now add the tax benefits on top of that. And the fact that someone is living in that house, paying it off for you, also giving you more positive ROI. Leverage is what drives investors like me into the game because I get to get banks back at their own game. Think about it. Banks, when you walk out, they take your money, they lend it out, they make money on it. And what do they give you? A sucker, a dum-dum. But this time, they're the dum-dum.
You new dum-dum, you give me gum-gum.
The fifth and final benefit that we're going to talk about with why you want to love the right kind of debt is because of the time arbitrage. It's the time you reclaim in your life. You think to yourself, man, it takes money to make money. I guess I should wait and save up $250,000 to buy this house cash. Instead, the bank says, we'll lend you the money. On a primary residence, you only need 3%. On a business, there might be seller financing. Check this out. The biggest advantage to debt is that you can start investing now rather than saving and playing catch up later. Many people use debt as an excuse to prolong action and end up missing huge opportunities available to them through debt. I'm going to tell you right now that debt is an accelerator, not just in leverage, not just in wealth accumulation, but it also advances opportunities to you right now. I became financially free in under 5 years leveraging debt the way that I'm teaching you right now. Now, I had mentors. I had people along the ways looking at my investments and making sure my ROIs were sound. But because they were good, it meant that debt ended up being a really beautiful thing for me. Debt honestly should become your best friend. Now, check it out. I know there's a lot of energy in this video with my excitement about debt because I'm genuinely that excited about it. What I really want you to know, though, is that what debt really means is the ability to make more money and become successful as an underdog, someone that started with nothing. It meant that banks were putting up money. Sometimes other people were putting up money. And debt afforded me the opportunity, as long as the investments were good, to really further myself. It's meant that I've traveled now to over 40 countries with my wife. We've been out there seeing the world and enjoying it. You know, we've got 4 kids. They're not in our public school system. They're privately educated. You know, last week I took a group of friends on my private jet and we were exploring the world of Tucson as my wife attended her favorite crystal fairs. You know, debt is a solution to growing wealth for the people that have it. They already understand this, they know this. Consumers really aren't taught this. So I'm making this video for you today because I want you to start having the unfair advantage that the wealthy have. And I'm telling you right now, being a subscriber on this channel is going to allow me to continue sharing with you the secrets of the wealthy that shouldn't be secrets. These are things that you should know if you want to have the same level playing field to live the life on your terms the way you wanted. From me starting in debt to where I am today, I'm telling you, you can do it too. Today, I shared with you big picture principles, but it turns out that there's a science to building wealth. It's more than just debt used the right way can be positive or be a really powerful accelerant. There's a specific math that I'm following that allows me to build wealth. And the 5th book that I've written, literally my magnum opus, one I'm so proud of, it's called Have It All. It is 5 ROIs, 5 strategies for becoming a self-made millionaire in under 5 years. And while that might sound to some like get rich quick, I'm telling you right now, all the wealthy people I know, they don't get wealthy over 40 years. They do it in a very short period of time because they learn how to hack a system like I teach in this book. There's a link below, and I've got some copies of this book available for free right now. And if you want to get your hands on one of them, click the link below, cover the shipping and handling. I will get that book sent out to you, and I'll start equipping you with the knowledge that you need beyond just understanding debt, so that in the next 5 years, you can literally write a check for whatever it is that's going to bring that next level fulfillment and opportunity and options into your life. You're probably not surprised to think, wait a second, Kris, if you like debt so much, I bet you don't like paying things off. And you would be right. I actually have 3 reasons why I will never pay real estate off and a lot of other things. And if you want to know what they are, click this video. And it goes up in value like my assets.
That's good.
Petered out.
Why did you?
I don't know. Because just didn't. Sometimes I'm not perfect once in a while. Once in a while. Not very often.
It was perfect.
I know.
You just abandoned it.
I know. I know. I didn't finish the take, okay?